NFL Draft Bible on location.
What do you want?
It was Alexander. Does that give you pause for the kid? Have you been picking because no picks in college?
Which kid? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking offense because that's all we've done so far.
No interceptions in college.
One of the things I'm concerned with a few of the defensive backs are lack of ball production. And with Mackenzie Alexander, you got to do a lot of work because a lot of teams didn't throw at him, so you can't downgrade a kid for that. I have more work to do on him. I thought he was longer than he actually measured out to be also. So basically, I'm anxious to see his ball skills here, especially one of the things you have to look at. And same with Jalen Ramsey, is you got to kind of get a feel for whether or not a kid can find the football when it's in the air with his back to the quarterback. And I think the jury is still out on both those guys. Yeah, sure. I thought it was pretty much as advertised for me today. Carson Wentz has been under center. I've watched almost all the throws he made this year. He's got good footwork because he's been under center. He's done 5-step, 5 with a hitch, 7-step. He's got a good arm strength, and I thought he was very solid today. Same thing with Goff from Cal. Quick feet, quick release. Doesn't have the arm strength that maybe Paxton Lynch does or Wentz has. But you can see everything you want in a quarterback that's ready to play today. That's what Goff is. He's ready to go today. Paxton Lynch looks to me like, and I spent a couple hours with him a couple of weeks ago watching tape with him and watching him on the field, and they're building him from the ground up. He's never been under center in his life. He's got a lot that he's got to learn. He's working hard at it, and when he gets his footwork lined up the correct way, that arm strength is elite. It's really cool. But he's going to have to, that's a work in progress. I still think he's a potential, I think he's a first-round pick, but he's a little bit of a project. He's a year or two away. The kid from Michigan State, Cook, I thought he was good. I saw good arm strength. I didn't see elite arm strength. I've done a lot of work on him. I have never met him. I'd love to meet the kid and try to figure him out a little bit also. And beyond that, I just thought there were, as I said in the press conference the other day, I think there's 5 to 7 kind of mid-round guys who all are trying to show teams that they can be the next Kirk Cousins.
Mike, what you see from Hunter Henry and do you think he's right?
I think didn't Jason Witten run the 40 when he was there? I would have loved to see him run. I don't know what he can run. That's one of my biggest, I expected he would run. I was surprised he didn't. Off tape, he's a real, I would call him really solid. And he can play inline, he can play wing, they move him outside, he catches the ball, he runs routes, he competes as a blocker, which is rare coming out of college football. I think Jason Witten that's high praise, and I'm not ready to go there yet, but I think he's potentially a late 1 to mid 2, and he's a heck of a football player.
Braxton Miller said here Thursday.
I'm sorry?
Braxton Miller said here Thursday that he had run 4.26 at Ohio State. I think everyone expected him to run faster. How do you think the 4.5 today affected him?
I could care less. I didn't expect him. I mean, there was a lot of buzz about him running 4.35 or whatever, and 4.5 is fine with me. And he's going to be a slot receiver and a punt return guy. What you see with him is he's really raw. We were all excited at the Senior Bowl. He doesn't know how to run routes yet, even though he's further along than most converted quarterbacks. He's going to get return production as a punt return guy, and he's going to have to learn how to play slot at a higher level than he does today. 4.5 is plenty fast because he's so quick, so competitive, and so athletic. It didn't change my opinion of him at all. Where do I see him drafted? Coming in, I said second round, and leaving, I'm going to say second round.
You mentioned Paxton Lynch as a work in progress, and Goff is being ready now. Where do you see Wentz in that regard?
Wentz is interesting because I'd love to see him sit for a year. So if I'm Dallas at number 4, I'm sitting there kind of licking my lips because I got a 36-year-old quarterback that hasn't finished a season in 3 years, and you're probably not going to be at 4 again very soon, at least hope not if you're Dallas, right? So you get an opportunity to kind of draft for the future. So I would much prefer looking at a guy that maybe I could groom for a year and play. I think that's the ideal situation for him. Now, if he had to go in and play this year, do I think he could take his lumps and do that? Yeah, but I think the The healthiest situation for that kid in a franchise is to give him a year behind an established starter, even in Cleveland. Let him go, if Cleveland took him. Go to Cleveland, spend a year learning the system, learning what you're doing, and a year from now you're the guy. I think that's healthy.
What is the difference between him and Goff in that regard? Why do you see Goff being more ready for that?
Look, Wentz is, the advantage Wentz has is he's been under center. Okay, he's done a lot of the protections. He's been under center. You could see his footwork. It was good. The difference is he's played 23 games and he's done it at a lower level. And you don't see, I didn't see the same pocket awareness. When I watch Goff, I see a guy sliding, moving around the pocket, going from one side of the field to the other, making every throw. And I don't think Wentz is at that point yet as far as being quickly able to do that. And I think he needs a lot more reps.
Mike Mayock,
How did receivers get out of the, receivers get out of the second round and get to the bottom?
Well, this is not the same receiver class we saw the last couple of years. You saw that today. Nowhere near as explosive. Treadwell didn't run, but Treadwell's not going to run fast anyway. He didn't jump well today. He jumped below average, and I expected that. So Treadwell is, to me, a kind of bottom half of the first round person. Corey Coleman didn't run. I think Coleman and Fuller are two that people are going to talk about at a certain point. Whether or not it's first round is hard to say, but 4.31 or 4.32, whatever he ran, and he caught the ball better than I expected him to catch it. Well, I still think he's a 2. That's where I have him. Fuller. I still think Fuller is a 2. I think Coleman, some people have him late 1. I have trouble seeing more than 1 or 2 wideouts in the first round.
On your 40-yard dash being what it is, just one sort of measurement, were there any numbers high or low that surprised you? Anything way better or way worse than you expected coming in?
Are you talking about from the wideouts?
Just for the 40-yard dash in any offensive or any player that you've seen run so far?
I have to go through all the numbers. They're a jumble in my head right now. I apologize. It's 7 hours of live television, and I'm not on all cylinders. I mean, it's a good question, because to me that's what matters. I always say fast guys run fast, slow guys run slow, and it's only a story when the opposite happens. What was surprising to me was the wide receiver class as a whole, how slow they were. There were, Hollywood Higgins runs 4.6. There were a bunch of 4.6s and 4.59s and 4.7s, and there were a lot more wide receivers ran slow than I thought they would today.
Mr. Mayock,
Yes.
went down with a
Yeah.
injury during his workout. How badly do you think this is going to affect his draft stock come the draft? And where did you have him before the injury?
I have them as a wild card along with Hackenberg. I have no idea where either of them are going. And I've said it 100 times, and for me, both of them, they're big, good-looking kids that throw a beautiful football with a lot of bad tape. So where do you take them? So I don't think there's a draft status for either of them right now. I think the whole rest of the NFL is doing what I'm doing, which is trying to figure the kid out. And if you believe in the kid and that you can fix the mechanics and get him to a certain level, you take him higher, right? But I think we're all going through that discovery phase right now. His pro day becomes a big day for him in Columbus in a couple of weeks.
Hey, Mike, when you talk about the quarterback,
What's that? Tunsil was as advertised. It was poetry in motion as far as a left tackle, great feet. I think his movement skills are even better than I thought they were, and I thought they were really exceptional. I thought the Spriggs kid from Indiana was outstanding, both with the measurables and his field workout. He's got some things he's got to clean up from a technique perspective, but I could just hear, I could channel a bunch of offensive line coaches around the league going, I want to work with that guy. I thought they were really good. The Stanford guard, Garnett, I like him a lot, and you get him in the second or third round. I think you've got a starting right guard or left guard immediately. Westerman is another guard I like in those mid rounds. I think he's going to be a starting guard quickly. I was disappointed that Whitehair had 16 reps. I think he's a starting guard, and to come out there and have 16 reps at 2 1/4, that one I struggled with.
Offensive tackles unable to go through drills. He says he won't be healthy until maybe mid-April. How much does that hurt him?
He's raw as can be, man. I mean, he needs snaps, he needs reps. He's a big, long kid with gifted feet, but he's going to struggle year one, I think. And you saw Greg Robinson come out of that offense, who had more snaps and and talent, and he's still struggling to figure the NFL out. I think this kid's going to be on a similar path. Where he gets drafted, to me, I had him in the 3rd round coming in. Left long, good feet, developmental prospect.
Hey, Mike,
Anytime you run 4.3, you help yourself, right? Especially when you come out of nowhere. I didn't see that coming. I didn't expect it, and you got to do some homework because he really has minimal production. So when they get to that Georgia Pro Day, there'll be more of a cure. This is where it helps them. More teams will have done some more homework on him and want to see more of him at the Pro Day. He's going to have a chance to, because of what he did this week, he'll have a chance at his Pro Day and in the process to convince teams that he's a draftable tailback.
Like, I heard anything about how conduct policy is talked about, as much as ever these days. How much could that alone help a kid like Dak Prescott, who might be the highest paid
If there's anything I've seen in the last 10 or 15 years, it's that no matter how much we tighten up the personal conduct policy, the more talent you have, the more chances you get. And that's just the way it is, unfortunately, in all pro sports. I wish we had a way where we could reward the good character kids at a higher level more quickly. Unfortunately, those kids get less opportunities and they have to do their jobs more quickly and efficiently than the other guys that have more talent. So I spent half my time here talking about Kim Dichie and Spence and all the guys that have had problems. I love talking about the Dak Prescotts of the world, but he is what he is. He's basically one of those middle round quarterbacks where teams are going to want to work with him. He's got height, weight, he's got some arm strength. What he did in the state of Mississippi to galvanize that team in that state, I thought was special. And what happens with those kind of guys is a quarterback coach or two will fall in love with a kid. Okay, it's not going to make him a first rounder because he's a great character kid, but a coach will fall in love with him and they'll draft him.
Hey, Mike, on the quarterback workouts today, when you consider the whole process of evaluation, the tape, and whatnot, what's the redeeming value of what happened today for the quarterback?
You know what it really is, and being 100% honest with you, remember a couple years ago Cam Newton came out here, and he was the number 1 guy in this draft, right? And he came out and ripped it all over the place. And he wasn't accurate that day, but he just ripped it all over the place. And what I heard, the buzz I got from all around the league, coaches and GMs and all, they didn't care about the incomplete passes. They cared that he wasn't afraid. And this is the quarterback we're talking about, right? Bright lights guys, right? Not afraid of the bright lights. He just came out and said, guys, I'm going to rip it. And he did. And then I went to his pro day, and he had tightened things up. He all of a sudden the ball was coming out crisper, cleaner, more accurately, and people were going, wow, he's from here to here in a short period of time. So when you look at these pro days, and you all, what, Mike, what'd you see in the quarterbacks and all I'm looking for is any potential red flags, and usually they aren't out here. They're only throwing about 30 passes, right? So what you're looking for, because none of these kids, I shouldn't say none, most of these kids have never been under center. So when you talk about a 5-step drop or a 5 with a hitch or a 7-step, they've never done it until they get with their respective guru, 2 months ago. So I'm looking this is what all the coaches and GMs tell me. They're looking at the footwork to see where the kid is in development as an NFL prospect, and they just want to see how the ball comes out of their own hands. That's all. It's really just a cross-check. And if a kid doesn't have velocity, arm strength, and you thought he did on tape, it's a really good cross-check because you have to see quarterbacks in person. So that's all it really comes down to.
Mike, have you heard about Spence and how he interviewed here?
I haven't heard a thing yet. I've been buried on the offensive side of the ball since I got here, so I apologize.
Mike, if you're a team that was a 3-4 defense, you're looking for an inside linebacker, who are you looking for? And is a follow-up Reggie Wright on his coverage abilities? Does that mean take him out?
No, not at all. Reggie Ragland to me is a top 20 pick. I'm not really worried as much about what you have to do in today's NFL. You're in sub package 70% of the time, right? So your nickel is a starter. Who are you taking off the field? Are you taking a defensive tackle? Are you taking an inside linebacker? Who's coming off the field? Reggie Ragland rushes the quarterback well enough and can cover well enough that I don't think he's coming off the field. So I like Reggie Ragland. And you start talking about the Jalen Smith guy, God forbid what happened to him. Miles Jack, they can play inside or outside, right? There's no problem there. Kentrell Brothers from Missouri is an inside linebacker who I like a lot. Scooby Wright is an inside linebacker that I like. Josh Purry from Ohio State can play inside and outside. And you start getting into some of those middle round guys, Matakevich, Schobert, Johnny Paul. There's a bunch of guys out there that can play 3-4 or 4-3 inside and outside.
Is Darren Lee in that mix too?
Darren Lee to me is a 4-3 will. He runs as well as any linebacker in this draft.
Like a couple days ago, you linked the Patriots to offensive line. What you saw here today from the New England perspective?
They're way down the road there in the second round, right? I mean, I think the Spriggs kid is interesting because he could play either tackle, left or right tackle. I think he could even kick inside the guard. I mentioned Whitehair. His tape is really good. The fact that he didn't have the strength in the bench bothers me a little bit, but he's a smart, tough kid that could play guard in New England. There are a couple of guys that right off the top make me think that they'd be interesting. Vidal Alexander is a big, strong kid. He's bigger than any of those interior linemen the Patriots have right now, and he might be intriguing to them. And at the wide receiver position, in the second round, we're looking at
Auburn linebacker Chris Frost, table 4. Auburn linebacker Chris Frost, table 4.
Second and third rounds, Michael Thomas, Josh Doxson. They don't need a nickel, a slot at all. I think they would be the logical ones: Thomas, Doxson, and assuming Corey Coleman and Fuller off the board.
Mike, is this a good year?
Like with a they push down
Well, I don't know the way it's going to work out, though, because it's intriguing. There's so many good defensive linemen. The one way you could look at it is there'd be a bunch of them taken in the first round. The other way, which could happen, is that teams are going to look around and say, man, I can get a second round defensive tackle in the fourth round, so I'm going to wait. Or I can get a first round defensive tackle in the third round, so I'm going to go attack another need where the draft isn't as good. So the two deepest positions for me are defensive tackles and corners. It's a really good corner draft also, I think. We're doing our homework. I think we're going to start hearing more names than just the 3 or 4 we've been talking about for the last couple of months with the corners.
Steps off the defensive line.
I'm sorry?
Eric Strike, one of the best first steps we've seen in this draft class. But it seems to be all over the map in terms of where the pundits see him going. What do you think is a fair draft rate? What route is he going?
My pundit?
No.
I'm just teasing.
I think most of them.
He's hard. He's really hard to do because he's got safety size, and the best thing he does is come off the edge, right? So how do you fit him in at a 200? I don't even know what he weighed in at. I haven't seen it yet, but I look at him, and we've become so specialized in my head. I kind of got him targeted for a dome team that plays inside on turf with him as a situational pass rusher. That's who I think he is. Just come off the edge. Your sub package, as we said, is 70% of the game, man. Let him come off the edge, and especially in a dome where he'd have an advantage.
specialist work like Hargrave's 5'10" came out this week. How much of a disadvantage is that for him? Is that going to push him down in the first round?
He's got the best feet in the draft. He's got the best feet I've seen in the last couple of years. Vernon Hargraves, change of direction, his feet. He's got special abilities, and he's not going to get pushed down very far.
So the height's overrated?
What?
The height is overrated?
It's not overrated. He's got, what were his arms? What was his length? What's that? Now, he's going to be fine. And if he's 5'9", 5'8.5", it might be a dip, but still, the kid has got special traits, and they're the best traits for an off corner in this draft, and he can also press.
Like you got to see the specialists work out.
No, I didn't. I saw it, but in all honesty, I'm not qualified to judge them. I talked to special teams coaches right before the draft. Okay, let's see. Bosa, Elliott. Help me with who they are now. Apple's borderline. The tackle, so that's 3 right there. That's 3 right there. Apple's borderline first round. Sorry? Washington, I think, is a second round guy. What do we have, 4 now? Darren Lee is the one that could sneak into the first. I think he's a second round safety. I think, so where are we now, 5? those are the 5 that I think have a chance. All kinds of things could happen, but I think those 5 will make it.
Final one, Mike, what does a guy like Northwestern?
I'm sorry? McGovern had a really good measurable. I mean, all his numbers were good. He played well in the field drills. I like McGovern a lot. Who else did you ask me? Brothers? Well, we haven't seen Brothers yet, obviously, and I'm looking. He's one of the best inside linebackers in this draft. So I'm looking forward to watching him work out.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, folks. Thank you.
NFL Draft Bible on location.